There is a reason why you struggle with money. And it has nothing to do with numbers. It has nothing to do with luck, intelligence, or timing. The real reason lies much deeper in a place you rarely look: your shadow. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate." And this is exactly what happens with money. We like to believe our financial life is guided by logic, by planning, effort, or strategy. But in truth, your financial reality is shaped by invisible forces inside you. Forces you did not choose, forces you do not see, and forces that silently dictate how much you allow yourself to have. Hidden beliefs, old fears, family patterns, emotional wounds, unspoken memories, inherited trauma. These are the architects of your wealth, or your lack of it. The shadow of wealth is not evil. It is not darkness in a moral sense. It is simply everything you learned to hide about money. Your early experiences shaped it. Your childhood environment fed it. Your culture programmed it. Your parents reinforced it. If you grew up hearing things like, "We can't afford this," "Money is dangerous," "Rich people are greedy," "Be grateful for what you have," or "Life is hard for people like us," these phrases didn't disappear. They became internal laws, rules your unconscious follows even when you consciously disagree. You may say, "I want to be wealthy," but deep down the shadow whispers, "Money is not safe. Money changes people. If I have too much, I'll lose something important." Or, "Wealth doesn't belong to someone like me." This internal conflict creates stagnation, hesitation, and fear disguised as responsibility. Most people don't realize that their shadow is not trying to punish them. It is trying to protect them from rejection, shame, disappointment, or failure. Your shadow believes staying where you are is safer than becoming someone new. This is why you delay opportunities that could change your life. Why you undercharge even when you know your value. Why you choose jobs far below your potential. Why you start projects with enthusiasm and abandon them halfway. Why you avoid risks that could bring growth. Why you spend impulsively when you feel unworthy. Why you sabotage relationships, collaborations, or investments. This is not because you are bad with money. It's because part of you is loyal to an identity built long before you had a choice. The identity of someone who shouldn't want too much, who shouldn't stand out, who shouldn't surpass others, or who shouldn't challenge the family narrative. Your shadow keeps you poor not because it hates wealth, but because it fears what wealth represents: responsibility, visibility, change, judgment, failure, and even success. Some of the beliefs you carry are not yours. They are emotional echoes passed down through generations. If your parents struggled with money, you inherited more than habits. You inherited their emotional relationship with money. Their fear became your caution. Their scarcity became your ceiling. Their shame became your silence. Children absorb not what parents say, but what they feel. If your parents were stressed about bills, you learned that money equals tension. If your parents argued about finances, you learned money equals conflict. If your parents worked endlessly, you learned that money must be earned through suffering. These beliefs live in the shadow and silently shape your financial life today. Every person operates from a dominant financial archetype. Some people are ruled by the slave, afraid of freedom, attached to survival. Others by the saboteur, destroying progress the moment success appears. Some by the shadow child, waiting for permission, validation, or rescue. Many by the martyr, giving everything and receiving nothing. and others by the pretender, appearing confident while fearing exposure as unworthy. These archetypes run your financial life from the dark. Until you identify them, they decide your relationship with money. You don't have just one financial identity. You have multiple versions of yourself fighting for control. The version who wants to build wealth. The version who fears change. The version trained to survive. The version who feels guilty for wanting more. And the version who believes money is either spiritual or corrupt. When your conscious desire and your unconscious beliefs conflict, the unconscious wins every time. Because the unconscious is older, deeper, and far more powerful. This is why you feel stuck. Not because you lack discipline, but because you lack alignment. Not because you lack motivation, but because you lack integration. Wealth does not come from strategy alone. It comes from identity. You cannot become wealthy while feeling unworthy. You cannot attract abundance while fearing abundance. You cannot grow financially while your shadow is still protecting the old version of you. Transformation begins the moment you stop running and turn toward the shadow. Not with judgment, not with shame, but with curiosity. To begin this awakening, ask yourself 3 questions. What did my parents teach me about money, not just in words but through emotion, behavior, and silence? What part of me feels unworthy of wealth, and when did that belief begin? And what financial patterns do I repeat again and again, and what emotion appears before each sabotage? Do not rush these answers. Do not force anything. Simply observe. Awareness dissolves resistance. Awareness breaks the spell. Awareness brings the shadow into the light. This is the shadow of wealth. A place where money is not taught as numbers, but as psychology, energy, identity, and transformation. Where your financial story is rewritten not from the outside, but from the deepest parts of your mind. Here we don't teach you how to make money. We teach you how to become the kind of person who can hold wealth without fear, guilt, or self-sabotage. Your financial awakening begins in the dark. Welcome to your transformation.